But anyway, let's look at this article a long way down. What it takes to hit Iran's deepest nuclear site. This is from the New York Times, was published recently. And it says here, Iran built its most critical nuclear enrichment facility, Fordo, deep inside a mountain to shield it from attacks. But the United States has a bomb that experts think could probably reach the subterranean site. President Trump is considering a plan to use it. Only the U.S. military has the 30,000-pound GBU-57, or massive ordnance penetrator, that may be able to destroy Fordo, and it is the only armed force with aircraft that can carry out a mission with it. So here is a small animation that gives you an example of how the missile would be, of how the missile can deeply penetrate the Earth. So it can go down easily 25 feet below the Earth, and then it can go easily 50 feet downwards from below the Earth's surface. And it can go easily 100 feet down underneath the Earth's surface. It can go down 130 feet. But this article specifies that this bunker bomber can reach a maximum depth of around 130 feet in moderately hard rock. So it can reach a maximum depth of around 130 feet. But the thing is that this Fordo nuclear facility is deeper than 130 feet. So the question is can America's support really destroy Iran's nuclear facilities? Well, they'll say, well, it can, because America could just hit the site several times with the same type of missile. So the Americans could hit the site, it could hit the ground underneath which is this facility, and the missile won't necessarily hit the bunker because it won't be deep enough, but it'll make a deep enough hole to where a second missile would then be able to get closer to the site. And then if it hasn't destroyed the bunker at that point, they could just send a third missile. And at that point, the crater will be deep enough for maybe a third or fourth missile to actually hit the bunker, or to hit the underground facility and actually destroy it. Is America actually going to do that? That's the question. So then you go down deep enough, and it says here that the GBU-57/B can make it about 200 feet through the kind of concrete often used for building foundations. The question is, are the Iranians using the same type of concrete that you use to build foundations for buildings? Or are the Iranians using something stronger? That's the question. And it says here that the Fordo enrichment facility is believed to be another 60 to 90 feet down, so it's deeper than 200 feet. And it says here, one bomb would not be enough to reach the enrichment facility. Only multiple waves of attacks could reach that depth. So the Americans would have to do multiple rounds of using this bunker diver missile to potentially destroy Iran's nuclear facility, the Fordo nuclear facility, which is deep underneath the Earth. It's deep underneath a mountain. Here is the shallowest depth experts think the facility may be. So it's over 250 feet. You're looking at closer to 300 feet, but I think it's deeper than that. Some estimates put the facility 30 feet deeper or more. The U.S. military has concluded that one bomb would not destroy the Fordo facility on its own. To destroy the site, an attack would have to come in waves, with bombers releasing one after another down the same hole. Technically, military and geological experts say it should be doable, but the mission is full of risks. There is a lot that is not known about the facility, said Heather Williams, director of the Project on Nuclear Issues at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. There could be some additional tunnels or facilities that are buried even more deep into the mountain. So are the Americans really capable of destroying Iran's nuclear project? I will answer in the negative. I will say no. I don't think America has the capacity. I know that Israel definitely doesn't have the capacity, because even if they hit the bunker, Iran can still move their nuclear project elsewhere. And is America just going to keep bunker bombing the shit out of Iran? Eventually, the Americans will be exhausted with the entire project of trying to prevent Iran's nuclear aspirations. So I just don't see America getting rid of Iran's nuclear project. I just don't see it happening. And Israel doesn't have the ability. Israel bombed the Natanz nuclear facility, which is also underneath the ground, although it has an above-Earth structure. They managed to blow up the above-Earth structure, but they couldn't destroy the structure underneath the Earth, or structures, I should say, underneath the Earth for the Natanz nuclear facility. And the Israeli strike didn't even do that much damage. So Israel cannot destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Israel cannot wipe out Iran's nuclear project. So what? Is America just going to have to continuously police Iran and just continuously bunker bomb Iran so that it just cannot have a nuclear project? Iran's just going to keep moving their stuff elsewhere. It's just going to keep moving their operations elsewhere. It's not going to stop, guys. You're not going to stop this. So the Americans are not going to stop Iran. They could try, but they're not. The Israelis definitely can't stop the Iranians. They don't have the capacity to do that. The Iranians are just going to keep doing this, and the Israelis are too weak to stop Iran. They're not as strong. And guys, if you were raised in the United States, you can confirm what I'm saying. We've all been there. We were all told this as children, as teenagers. Israel's military is so powerful, so advanced, so efficient. And now, what are we seeing? We're seeing just how truly weak the Israeli military is. It's not as strong as we were taught. It's not as strong as we were told. It's not. The Iron Dome is bullshit. And amazingly, I did a video about this many months ago. Remember, I did a video about this? I uploaded it. If you just go on my YouTube channel and type in Iron Dome. I did a video entitled, Your Iron Dome Won't Save You. It was something to the likes of that. The Iron Dome will not save Israel. And we can see that the Iron Dome is not efficient enough to stop a massive bombardment. And Iran has been bombarding Israel, and you have people, civilians, being slaughtered in Israel. I don't like it. I think it's very depressing, but that's what's been happening. And you just can't stop what's coming. You can't stop what's coming, guys. And America, I don't see the United States just constantly bunker diving Iran. I don't see that happening. Because look at what happened with Ukraine. America kept supplying Ukraine with weapons. And Americans said, we're tired. We're tired of hearing about how many billions of dollars are going in to support Ukraine. And they're not going to want that with Israel. They don't give a shit if it's for Israel. In fact, if you tell Americans, hey, this is for Israel, you're probably going to get a lot more hatred than if you were to tell them it's for Ukraine. It's just, no matter how you look at it, Israel is just screwing itself over. And it's like what Jordan Peterson said. Psychopaths will not only destroy those around them, they will destroy themselves. And Israel, by hitting Iran, only accelerated its own demise. It only further paved the path towards its own ruin. Because by hitting Iran, you just awakened a sleeping giant. And now you're in a war. You're in the throes of a serious war. America can't save you. Israel can't save itself, but Israel wants to drag other people down into this path towards destruction. It's like a psychopath. Psychopath ruins himself, but ruins others. Judas Iscariot took part in the murder of Christ, and then he killed himself. Judas Iscariot paved the path for his own destruction, and also murdered another person before that. So psychopaths will hurt others, they will destroy others, and they will destroy themselves always. Adding even more uncertainty, Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, who has visited the facility, said last week that it was, look at this, it was half a mile under the ground, guys. Look at this. Let's go back to our little chart here, our little New York Times chart. This is for all the people who read the newspaper when they're drinking their Starbucks. Oh, 25 feet. No biggie, right? I mean, that's like jumping in a pool. 25 feet, no biggie, right? Let's look at this. 50 feet, no biggie. Let's look at this. 100 feet, no problem, guys. We can handle that. 130 feet, yeah, it's getting a little too far, but we can handle that. Nothing we can't handle, gentlemen. 130 feet, okay? 150 feet, okay, yeah, we can do that. 150 feet, okay, we're getting a little bit more difficult. The difficulty level is increasing, but we can manage it, right? We can manage. 200 feet. Ooh, we've now reached a pretty big limit here. All right. Okay. We can't really get past this point. And according to Mr. Grossi, Raffaele Grossi, our Italian friend here, he says, while he's stuffing his face with pasta, the Director General, he's visited the damn place. This is not like, oh, this is not information from radar imagery that was taken on a plane. No, this is from a guy who's actually visited and inspected this facility. He says, guys, it's a half a mile under the damn ground. It's a half a mile under the damn ground. But he may have been speaking in general terms, and most estimates put it 260 to 360 feet below the surface of the mountain. Are you sure it's just 260 feet to 360 feet? Are you sure? The size and weight of the GBU-57, 20 feet long and 30,000 pounds, means that only the American B-2 Spirit stealth bomber can carry it on mission. So the Israelis really need the Americans. It's not a situation where the Israelis are just saying, if you don't want to help us, don't help us. We do this ourselves. No. The Israelis really need the Americans. While Israel has fighter jets, it has not developed heavy bombers capable of carrying the explosives. And by the way, this type of bunker bomber has never been used in combat before. And it says here, it is unknown, though, whether Iran has the weaponization capabilities needed to do so. We don't even know if Iran has the capabilities to make their enriched uranium into an actual nuclear weapon. We don't. Which really goes to show that this whole thing is sort of unnecessary and we're just being dragged down by psychopaths because psychopaths are ruling over countries. And yet it is full of risks, right? Attacking Iran is full of risks, obviously. That goes without saying. Known unknowns and unknown unknowns, as the former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld used to say in the context of the Iraq War. Another rabbit hole of American military action in the Middle East. That is why it has given pause to every American president who has looked at it for the past 16 years. So for the past 16 years, every American president has been hesitant to attack Iran. Every American president for the past 16 years has not wanted to go to war with Iran because they knew that going to Iran is a death trap. And if America, like I've said, as the Roman Empire got into a war with the Parthians, and that spelled the end of the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire, if America goes into a forever war with Iran, it'll spell the end of the American Empire. And America will be like Athens. There is something that you can look into. It's called the Sicilian Expedition. And I remember reading about the Sicilian Expedition when I read Thucydides' book on the Peloponnesian War, which is a great book, by the way, if you are interested in history, if you're interested in looking for ancient parallels to what is happening in our own time, I would highly recommend that you read The Peloponnesian War by Thucydides. It is an excellent, excellent book, really easy to read and really riveting and really, it's just filled with events that parallel with our own. And so there is a part of the book, it's in the last part of the book, where the Athenians and the Spartans are wanting to go to war in Sicily, because there is a proxy war that is happening in Sicily. Okay, so the Etruscans, who were a Spartan ally, were at war with the Athenian ally known as Segesta, which was a Greek city in Sicily. And so the Athenians were wondering, should we go to war to defend our ally Segesta against the Spartan ally, the Syracusans? And one faction in Athens said no to war, because this war will lead to massive devastation for Athenian power in the Mediterranean. And there was another faction that was pro-war. You could say that this was the ancient Greek version of the neocons. And this ancient Greek version of the neocons said yes to war. We have to defend Segesta against the Syracusans. So the Athenians embarked on a massive, massive war in Sicily. It's called the Sicilian Expedition. And they sent tons of ships to Sicily, thousands of soldiers into Sicily, and a massive, massive war broke out in Sicily. And the Spartans crushed the Athenians in that war. But again, the Sicilian expedition began with the Athenians wanting to support their proxy in the region. And the Athenians got bogged down in Sicily, and lost, and that spelled the end of Athenian power in the Mediterranean. The Romans got bogged down in a war against the Parthians, and that spelled the end of the Western Roman Empire. And if America gets bogged down in a war with the Persians, it will spell the end of the American Empire. That is my prediction. It'll spell the end of the American Empire because Iraq, Babylon, drove Americans to the edge of exhaustion. It drove Americans into a threshold where they don't want war any longer. And if your population is exhausted with war, your empire is exhausted. There is no morale. There is no enthusiasm. There is no drive. There's no spiritual or metaphysical drive to fight. The soul of your empire is decayed. How can you have a successful war when your society doesn't want war? It's impossible. It's like that line from 300. And I'm not a huge fan of the movie 300, but there's a line in that movie that's really true. And it's when the Spartan commander tells the Persian commander, "You have many slaves, Persian, but you have very few warriors. So you can force people to go to war and they'll fight. But if they don't want to be there, if they don't believe in the cause, then they're not going to be good fighters." It'll be like that line from 300. You have many slaves, Persian, but you have very few warriors. So America has already been driven to the point of exhaustion because of Iraq. And so if America goes to war with Iran, I mean, you're just going to drive the society into complete despair. And the American empire will just die. I mean, America will be exhausted with empire. Just like the Roman Empire exhausted itself when it spread itself too thin, and it went all the way up to England. And the English, they weren't really English, but the Celtic people who were living there, they kept doing revolts. And the Romans had to keep dealing with insurgencies. And so they had to keep sending soldiers up there. And it came to the point where the Romans just said, enough, that's it. We can't do this anymore. And Rome pulled out of England. And when it pulled out of England, that's when the Anglo-Saxons invaded. Not right after, sometime after the Anglo-Saxons eventually just invaded that region. And that's why it's called England today. So America is at a point where it has exhausted itself. And if Trump goes into a major war with Iran, I mean, if Trump does like one minor strike on Iran, I don't think that'll affect him substantially. But if he gets into a serious war with Iran, it will affect him substantially. And you can expect a Democrat to become the next president. You'll have a Democrat being our next president, just like we had Obama after Bush's second term. The reason why Americans voted for Obama is because Americans were exhausted with the military-industrial complex. And they voted for Obama, and Obama did a war in Libya, he did a war in Syria, and Americans got even more exhausted with the whole damn thing. We got ISIS under Obama, and Americans got even more exhausted with the whole damn thing. So people want a politician who is going to be truly, truly sincere about no wars. No wars for Israel, no wars for the American empire. That's it. We got to relax. We got to deload. Do you think the fall of the USA will cause the rise on the BRICS? Oh, definitely, yeah. If America declines, Russia wins. I mean, Russia rises up. But if America declines, then you can expect other regional powers to rise up as well. You can expect the Germans to rise up even more. You can expect the Turks to rise up even more. In fact, I would argue that the rise of Turkey has been due to the decline of American empire. I would say that Germany investing tremendously into reviving its military might is definitely due to the decline of American empire. And really, it's due to America's declining interest in getting involved in military issues. And that's why the Germans are saying, we can't rely on the Americans. We have to spend more money on our military. And yeah.